Welcome back to the Lotus Room for another installment of Tool Check, your leading source of vibes-based tool reviews. Today, we're going to be taking a look at these. These are the Workpro water pump pliers, or the mini water pump pliers. I can't remember, which is hilarious, but we're just going to put that right there. Thank you, text, for always correcting me. A few orders of business before we get started on this video. First of all, thanks for everybody who's watched the Halloween special so far. If you haven't checked it out, boom, there's a link. Check it out. I think it's some of my best work so far. It's a little bit different, but I would love for you to see it. And also, these particular pliers were provided for free to me by Workpro. So I thought it would be a good time for me to also talk about my policy regarding promotions and that kind of thing. So after we talk about that, we're going to go through some of the features of this, maybe test it out a little bit, tell you my thoughts about it and all that. So as far as promotional items here at the Lotus Room, I am willing to take free items for me to evaluate, to give my opinion about. I do my best to not let that, get in the way of me giving an honest and objective review, but I think that's kind of on some level impossible. I think that's always going to color it, but I will at least be transparent with you and tell you that, hey, I got these for free, which I did in this particular case. However, one thing that I will not do is accept money to make a video. On 2 occasions, I have been given free products from working on one video right now from Histronica, and they sort of offered to pay me cash. And Workpro, while they didn't offer to pay me money, they asked me if there was like a fee associated with making the video. So just outright, I am not a video for hire service. I do not accept money to make a review for somebody. To me, that's like ethically a little bit dubious. But I will take the free stuff. So maybe, I'm not as, good as I seem. But regardless, that's going to be our policy here at the Lotus Room moving forward. I'll accept promotional items up to a point in order for me to evaluate. But I will not accept money for like paid reviews. So anyway, now we got that out of the way, let's talk about the features of these pliers. All right, let's talk about the features of these. So these are what are called water pump pliers, and a number of different manufacturers have put these in their lineups. I know Klein Tools has them. I think Knipex is one of the first ones to make them. I'm sure Channel Lock has a pair. Kobalt just released one. We'll actually take a look at those in just a second. But this sort of style of pliers. These are about 4 inches. Let's just verify with the handy dandy tape measure here. Yeah, as you can see, it's just a little bit over. They feature some pretty aggressive teeth that on the top jaws, I'm not sure you can see, go all the way down to there, and on the back go all the way to about here. So a lot of teeth. They're pretty deeply cut in there, and it has a push button selector. So familiar to anyone who has any Knipex products, you push the selector down, move it to the position you want, and it locks into place. It's very, very nice. Smooth operation here, and what's kind of nice, and you can see that while it's not perfect, they open up in such a way that it doesn't quite pinch you. These jaws are kind of narrow, and that's kind of a feature and a bug. It's good because it can kind of get into places better and is overall narrow and can get better access. Well, that does also mean that it'll have worse grip. But those are the features. Okay, let's test this thing out a little bit. All right, so I thought it was, when we kind of try these out, since these are such a direct copy, I'd say, of these Knipex pliers, I think it's important to just try them out in comparison to these other ones. But I also have these here. These are the Kobalts. These just released in their 3 plier pack for the holidays that have these pliers, wrenches, these totally not twin grips, whatever. We're going to talk about all these a little bit later in my totally unjustifiable holiday tool haul videos coming up. But I just wanted to try these kind of next to each other because I think this invites the comparison so heavily based on the design and all that. One thing to note, these are the size up from the ones that these are directly a copy of. There are a set of Knipex Cobras that have the same like metal grips. There's no soft grips, and but those, interestingly enough, don't have a push button selector. And these do. But these are the ones that I have. I'm going to compare these together. This isn't like an absolute perfect apples to apples to apples comparison, but I thought it warrants it because of how, similar these are. Probably something that you're going to be doing a lot with these is getting some stubborn bolts off. Oh wow, that's a nice grip. Yeah. That's not bad. Oh, hold on, that slipped. Yeah, so that was me. All right, so this grips, I'd say these grip fairly well. Let's see how this compares to the Cobras. Okay, one interesting difference I actually just noticed right there in opening these up. These open up a lot wider in their default mode. So this is the open position from just all the way up, and that means I can kind of grab onto this a little easier. This is the all the way open position from here. That's going to come down to personal preference on what you like. If you like it to be more open on the default mode, then the Workpros might be for you. But let's see. All right, I mean that does grip better, and I would say it's relatively noticeable. But not that the Workpros were insufficient, just that this is like premium product there. All right, let's try out these guys, these ones from Lowe's, these Kobalts. See how we're doing on this. Oh, am I tightening? Wait, which way is which? You probably know this by now. That is tightening. Ha! Hilarious. These are noticeably cheaper than I would say the Workpro ones. Man, come on. Okay, I can't get those on. Let's try up here. See how this works. I don't know why that was so hard. I don't know if that was just the angle or whatever. Yeah, so these grip well. These are fine. Okay, so a little slippage there. Here, let's see. Let's kind of really grip this. Let's get this tightened all the way and try to. Yeah, I mean that grips. These are all right. Not bad. These feel, I would say, just noticeably like cheaper than the Workpro ones. All right, so if we open these like all the way up, get this gigantic one? All right, can we get any traction on this with the Workpros? Let's see, to the left. That like does not want. Let's see. We try it this way. All right. So one thing. Oh wow. Hey. All right. I just interrupted myself. That's pretty darn impressive. Okay. All right. So these are. That's pretty good grip. Let's try this out. Let's see. All right. I mean, these are the kings. These are the kings. All right, these Kobalts, I know we're really not talking about these, just kind of by comparison. These just feel worse. I am not 100% sure why. Something about this is not sparking a lot of joy. All right, so my thoughts about the Workpro water pump pliers. Okay, so these are really interesting. They feel great. I would say the vibes are just totally immaculate. They're very, very nice. Their sheening feels good. They're very aesthetically pleasing, and they are just a great size. I have been keeping these in my pocket, and I think these are going to remain kind of just an EDC item. This pocket screwdriver and a utility knife, you can get into a lot of trouble with that. These are going to be that, right? Whereas these are going to stay in my compact tool loadout for maybe slightly more serious work. But I'd say the grip is comparable. Probably not as much, but it's really good. I'd say that the push button selection is great and just a beautiful tool. I really aesthetically love this, and I think it gives a lot of joy to use. Which, you know, it might not be valuable to everybody, but to me, I think that's really important. I like using this. I like pulling these out. I like having them. I think these are really a decent product, and for the money, these are about $16. They're half this price, and I'd say they're not half as good. They're maybe like 20% worse than these. So I'd say these are a viable option if you want something to carry with you and have. So I think Workpro, you know, I've had good luck with their products so far. just because I got it for free. I'm not trying to juice them up too much or anything, but this product is solid. I think this is a really nice pair of water pump pliers. Now, to be fair, I would say that these are, these are clearly better, but they are twice as expensive. All right, so the Kobalts though, it's really not a review of these, but just I did use them. I'd say the push button selector feels weird. I don't like the way the grips feel. They're kind of thin like these, and it just feels softer. I don't know. There's something about these that I don't like. They performed, I think, fine. That was rude to just throw these poor guys. But these still are serviceable. They still got the job done. They just feel a lot cheaper. And I don't know if that's just a vibe or if that's indicative of like what their longevity is going to be. This push button selector is kind of off. Anyway, I probably shouldn't be talking about these all that much. We will be talking about these in the holiday tool haul. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Tune in next week for my totally unjustifiable pre-Black Friday holiday tool haul video. That'll be a lot of fun. Follow me on Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube business, and I will see you guys on the next video.